Okay, so it's nighttime right now and the lighting's kind of off. But I'm gonna start the Ramo Read-A-thon. It's from the 17th to the 23rd, and there's 3 challenges. The first challenge is to read 7 books. The second challenge is to read basically the rainbow. And then the third challenge is to read a book that has Rama either in the title or in the author's name. I haven't picked my 7 books, but I think I'm gonna start off with this poetry book, Disproportionate Mirrors, because it has 3 colors of the rainbow already, and also my goal was to read a poetry book, one poetry book a month. So I think I'm gonna start off with this first because even though the readathon is a week, I still have to go to work. So I don't think I'm gonna read as much as I want to. So I might not complete all the challenges. Okay, so I read a few pages. I think I'm like halfway through, so I'm on like page 50 or so. I've only liked a few poems and I feel like I'm not connecting with them because even though this is talking about foster care and struggles within moving to different placements or living in different households and past relationships with their parents, I think how it's written, I don't really care for. It's just not at the moment connecting with me. So I think what I'm gonna do, instead of finishing it all in one sitting like I was hoping to, I'll just read it throughout the month to see what my thoughts are, because maybe it's just like right now I'm not into the poetry aspect. What I do like is it's in different sections. So I think it's gonna go like from past to present to future or something. But they do have a section of like haikus, because most of it's written in like just regular formatting. So once I complete this, it completes the challenge of like reading 3 colors of the rainbow, but then also I noticed that it has the words Rama in it, so it could also complete the 3rd challenge. So it's RAMA. So I'm hoping that I'll get better. Not that I'll get better. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like right now, maybe I'm just not connecting to poetry. And it's also late. So I don't think I'm giving the book a fair chance. But yeah. I'm gonna go to sleep. And then we'll start our day off with a different book. Okay. Bye. Okay, so I just finished All the Stars and Teeth and I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it a 4-star. So in this world, we follow like people who have the ability to master different magic, I guess, elements. So you could have healing powers, you could control air, fire, wind, earth, and then there's only one family in all the kingdoms that control soul magic, and they're, I think, Monteras. I think that's how you pronounce their last name. And during this time, you're not allowed to master more than one magic, because what happens is that if you try to use more than one magic, you're gonna unbalance basically everything's gonna be unbalanced and you're disrespecting a god, and then all this chaos is gonna break loose. So we follow Amora, who is the daughter of the king. I don't remember the king's name, but she's part of the Montero family, and at a certain age she's supposed to do this ritual of basically coming of age, or like coming into her power, because she's supposed to prove that she could she has the strength to host the soul magic, because the soul magic is really dark and dangerous. So during this festival, they bring out like prisoners who have done bad things, but one of them is gonna have like a more darkened heart than the rest, and it's her job to search out to find out which person basically did the worst crime and then execute them. But she's supposed to execute them, I was gonna say execute them kindly, that doesn't make sense, but basically gently, right? But what happened is that she got distracted. So while she was distracted, the darkness and the magic kind of took over her, and she ended up showing no mercy in this execution that she did in front of her whole kingdom. And when she finally got control of her emotions, everyone was scared of her, minus like her father, because he also knows the magic. But he threw her into prison. And also during this time, there's this pirate who has been trying to convince the king that there's another evil on a different island who's teaching people different magics and is bringing darkness and chaos, and is gonna basically bring it to their kingdom and like mess up everything. But the king ignores him. So what the pirate does, his name's Bastion, he finds Amora in the prison and breaks her out, and he basically makes a deal with her saying, hey, if you help me fight this evil, then maybe you could go back to your kingdom and they won't execute you, because that's what she's scared of. So during that time, her fiance, he's not really her fiance, but it's gonna, her fiance shows up and it's like, well, I'm not leaving you, and da 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 da. So he goes with them on this ship, and they go off into an adventure, and it's Amora's first time basically venturing outside of the kingdom, and there ends up being a lot of mysterious things and fights breaking out, curses coming on through all of their basically quest to go to this island, and a little bit of romance that I appreciated. But yeah, so I gave it a 4-star. I really like it, so I'm hoping, I don't know, I think there's gonna be another book. So yeah, so the next book I'm gonna read that I kind of started is Ivy, Homeless in San Francisco. I don't have any books that have an orange cover, but there's orange in this title, so that's what I'm doing. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of reading like back-to-back fantasies, I'm gonna read like a fantasy, and then contemporary, and then another whatever genre, so I don't get like bored or stuck on one thing. But I'll give you an update when I have one. Okay, so I'm currently reading A Shadow of the Fox. My hair's hella curly on one side. Let me just... Okay, so I'm currently reading Shadow of the Fox right now. I haven't read the synopsis, but I did read a few pages. I'm on page 39 right now, so I think we just met the main character. I want to say her name is Yumiko. Could be wrong, but she is half human, half kitsune, and kitsune is a fox, and she's 16, and she's staying with these monks. And one of the monks just pulled her aside and just told her the legend of, I don't want to say the Great Dragon. What is it called? Basically, like 1,000 or so years ago, this guy prayed to the gods. Like, he did 1,000 prayers, and he prayed to the gods to survive. And the gods granted him a wish. And every 1,000 years, people have the opportunity to grant one wish from the god. That's only if you have the scroll that has the 1,000 prayers that the man said. And it doesn't matter whether you're going to use the wish for good or evil. So the monks are protecting part of the scroll, and they just told her about it. So I'm thinking that since they just told the story, and the monk seems kind of like, oh, I'm going to tell you this now because I think things are going to go down. So I feel like there's going to be a slaughter, and she might be the only person who escapes, because there's people now searching for all the scrolls. Because in the first chapter, it talks about like one of the demons someone summoned, and they were looking for, I think, part of the scroll, but I think that was like way back when. So I don't really know what to expect, but right now I'm kind of enjoying it. So I'll give you an update when I have one. All right. I just finished Shadow of the Fox, and I ended up really liking it. I'm gonna rate it between like a 3.5 to a 4-star, because I was hoping for a little bit more out of the ending scene, and it took me a while to remember the characters, to the point where I just decided to write down the characters' names in the book, because either some of them sound the same, but then also there's, when they introduce somebody, they'll say like their name, but then they'll add like Sama or Sun at the last of it, and I didn't understand what that meant. But in the back, what I do like about the book is that it has like a little glossary, so they would add like, let's see, so like your name could be, we'll start with like the first person, so her name was like Suki, but then so you'll be like, oh, that's her name, but then somebody would introduce her, but they'll say like Suki-chan, and that meant an honorific mainly used for females and children. And I was like, okay. So they used it like multiple times for different people, but there was different acronyms, and I was like, I don't understand what that meant. So they actually have it in the glossary in the back, which I really appreciate. And I don't think I did a good job of telling you what Shadow of Fox is. So basically we're following, it's in 3 perspectives, but 2 of the perspectives are the main characters. So we're following 16-year-old Yumiko, and she's half kitsune, which is basically a fox. So she's been living in the temple all her life with these monks, and one of the monks pulls her aside and lets her know like, hey, we're protecting this scroll called let me make sure I get it right, the Scroll of 1,000 Prayers, and every 1,000 years a new wish could be granted, and it really doesn't matter like what you use the wish for. So like, say you want it for more power, or you want it for like peace, it's you have to be able to have all the pieces of the scroll, and you have to read it word for word. And then I think like this dragon will appear and give you the wish that you could grant, or that they will grant. So one night she comes back to the temple, and there's demons and creatures basically breaking in and attacking the temple, and the monks are trying to protect it. And she ends up getting this piece of the scroll, and the monk tells her that you have to go to this other location, to this other temple, to keep the scroll safe and out of reach of whoever's trying to bring it, like grant the wish, because basically they're bringing ancient demons back. And that's a no-go area. We don't fuck with the evil shit. So while she's running away from the temple, she crashes into somebody from the Shadow Clan who's a samurai, and his name is, let me not get this wrong, Tatsumi, I think. And he carries this weapon, this sword that holds a demon inside of it, and it's called the Demon Slayer, and it's an ancient demon. So him as a samurai, at a young age, I think he's 17 in the book, he became the vessel basically, so he's the human host. So he has to make sure that all of his emotions are in check, because if they're not, the demon could possess his body, and then he would become evil and basically fuck up everything. But she convinces him to guide her to the next temple, basically, because he's also looking for the scroll. So guide him to the next temple, and he could get the scroll. And while that's happening, it's a book where they like go on a journey or go on a quest, and during this quest they pick up a few people along the way, and things start going down. There's a lot of like deception and betrayal and secrecy, but then also a lot of action scenes, and then a lot of myths that are brought up in this book. And it left off at a cliffhanger, and I'm like, why didn't I purchase the next two books? Because it's a trilogy. And I think I'm gonna purchase the next two books after I move, because I move in about 2 weeks or so. But yeah, so I gave it a 4-star on Goodreads, and I'm excited for the next book. Okay, quick update. I decided to DNF Ivy Homeless in San Francisco because I'm on page 41 and the chapters are short, and it's taking me longer to even get through this book because I'm not connecting with the writing style of the book, and the characters aren't really, I'm also not connecting with the characters. I was gonna try to push through it because I think there's only like 180 pages in this book, but I decided instead of doing that, I'm gonna DNF it for right now and set it aside, because if I continue reading how I'm reading, I'm gonna just give it a low rating, and it might deserve more than a low rating, but right now I'm not feeling it. And then I finished Ralph Hall Disproportionate Mirrors. I started this also at the beginning of the reading vlog, and I was gonna DNF it because I also wasn't connecting with the writing, but I decided to wait and read the poetry throughout the week, and I gave it a 3 stars. I did tap some of the poems that I did like. What I really like about the writing is that Ralph talks about his experience in foster care, but then also like the people he either connected with, I guess we could say like connected with through foster care, or he was also talking about different points of views. So one of the poems that I tabbed was called Moving Hair, and it was about this girl who has like curly hair and how her mom would like try to straighten it with the straight comb. And one day when her mom was doing it, she accidentally burnt her on the neck and she got a scar, and someone reported it to the point where like social workers came and removed her from the home. So she was placed out of home to, I want to say, a different race that didn't know much about the differences between what products to use for people's hair. So they would let the girl do whatever she wanted, and she asked for a perm, so they gave her a perm, and they ended up messing up her hair so bad that they had to cut it off. So I think some of the poems that are written in here would help connect or help foster parents or adoptive parents understand like what a child is going through in certain situations in their life. And I think my favorite things were the haikus, because everything was split up in different sections, and I try to tab my favorite poems for each section of the book because I think it's split up in 5 sections. But yeah, so that's a 3-star. Today's actually the last day of the reading vlog, or READ-O-RAMA, and I don't know what book I want to read. I don't think I completed all the challenges. I haven't read 7 books, and I haven't completed the rainbow. I think, because I'm putting this as 3 different colors. But then I already read a red book, and then this one I decided I'm going to use as orange instead of green. And All the Stars and Teeth, I'll go with that as like, because their thing was like blue, indigo, violet, but when you take off the cover, the book, I can't even speak, the book is purple. So I don't know if I want to have that as like indigo or purple. And I think I want to read another fantasy book. So if I could find another fantasy book that's a different color or in one of those 3 categories, I'll pick it up. So I'll give you an update later. But yeah, okay, see you around. Okay, the update is I didn't read another book. It's now Sunday, and I'm gonna just give you a wrap up of all the books and the ratings that I did read for the week. So we'll start off with Disproportionate Mirrors, which was the poetry book. I rated a 3-star. Ivy, Homeless in New York. Read, I think, like 20% of the book. I don't know how many, 41 pages of the book, and I DNF'd it. Might pick up, might not. Gave 4 stars to All the Stars and Teeth. And I'm excited to read the second book. And then I also gave 4 stars to Shadow of the Fox. And when I move in 2 weeks, I plan on ordering the next 2 books so I can finish the series. So these are the books that I read. And I think I did pretty good for the week. I only completed 1 challenge, that was read Rama in the title or the author's name. Other than that, I did read 3 books and 20% of 1. So these are the books. All right. I'm gonna start editing the vlog now, so bye. Like and subscribe if you want. I'm not here to force you to do anything you don't want. Stay safe. And yeah, okay, bye.